Okay. Hello, everyone. Glad it's been a minute. I'm actually sorry about the delay. I had actually thought we would. Okay, good. All right, let's pause that. There we go. I had actually thought about maybe streaming something at the campsite, but that didn't happen. So, for those of you who may be new and joining us today, I'm Brian Brake. This is well, I don't want to call it breaking down security Twitch stream, but because we don't have Miss Berlin and Mr. Betcher here, so it's just me and my brain musings, and for the next hour and a half or so, you and I will be talking about all things security and infosec and threat intelligence, or thrunting, I think is what they're calling it now on Twitter. So we'll see what happens. I've been gone, I don't know. I did a couple of shows before the conference, but I had been on vacation before then. They've changed some things in the UI, including allowing you to set your own tags, which I thought was great because our stream, at least for the InfoSec folks, didn't really fit well with what they were talking about, like, just chatting or interviews or science and technology. I've never really been able to figure out why they would lump us into those kinds of categories like that, but um, they did. But it appears that at least in OBS, I can enter my own up to 10 tags. So I've added things like threat intel, infosec, security, podcast, breaksec, etc. Which is great because I feel like it allows me to better describe what it is I do. So yeah. Uh, last weekend, so Friday, Saturday, and part of Sunday was InfoSec Campout, which is the conference that I have been co-organizing up here in the Pacific Northwest or Seattle area for the past 3 years. 3 years, 4 years. So, okay, well, yeah, it is what it is. So, I think it went really well. There were definitely I don't know if you've ever talked to an organizer of a conference. They always have things that they uh, figure out pretty much at the end of the conference, and every year for me is no exception. I've learned, at least with the camping conference, that if you've ever gone to a conference, I don't know if you've gone to a conference or not. If you're listening, feel free to send a message about conferences you may have attended. I have been to DerbyCon. I've been to several B-Sideses, B-Sides Seattle, B-Sides Springfield, Missouri, and looking forward to B-Sides San Diego in October. So I'm going to be making an appearance down there because I really would like to get um, get the network started down there. So when it came up here to Seattle, it was a bit of a different deal. It was, it took a little while to get that network started, but I'd like to believe that we're going to hit the ground running in San Diego. So if you live in the San Diego area, or even, Orange County, the Dido up in Escondido, or, you live close enough to San Diego where you can come down, we're gonna try to do some stuff down there when I get down there. So and also, try to network with other groups down there. So so anyway, um yeah, some of the things that I learned, I had bought a projector after the first conference that we did in 2019 because I was like, biggest feedback we got about the talks was the screen, or the TV that I was using, because I was using like a 43-inch TV to show the slides. The slides weren't big enough, or people could not see the TV screen. And this year and last year, the biggest issues we had was you had to wait until it was dark enough to be able to see the projector on the screen, which meant really limited our amount of time to have talks. Pretty much had to wait till dark, or as Seattle goes with day, the day, daylight, nighttime terminator, about 8 o'clock in the evening, which really limited the number of talks you could have. So um, the previous night I had set up the projector and I was like, okay, what time will actually be good? Because I was like, we'll have movie night, and it was like 9 o'clock at night, and everybody was kind of just not into the movie thing. So we didn't do movie night like we thought we were going to do. So when my wife came out on Saturday afternoon to see what was going on, I was like, hey, bring the TV from the first conference. We'll use it for talks. And actually, that worked out really well because we were able to start the talks at around 5 or 6 in the afternoon. And so if I do a conference again where there's a camping component or an area, if it's not in a traditional hotel type environment, we'll probably hold on. We'll probably um, continue to use a TV. Uh, so because it's just easier to set up. You don't have to worry about the projection screen. You don't have to worry about making the projector bright enough. Apparently, the top shelf projectors that you need to actually be able to project lumens onto a screen, such in the daytime, is in the neighborhood of $3,000 to $4,000, and I'm like, I don't have that kind of scratch. So TV seems to work out better, and so we'll use that. The other thing was we had a barn that we had rented out, which was roughly a quarter mile from the camping spots. And I found out very quickly that hackers don't want to walk, especially when they're camping outside. So we had started the LAN party over in the barn. I'd walked over to do some things, and by the time I had finished with those things, a couple of people had come back and said, "Hey, the LAN party is over, and um, somebody's babysitting your stuff, but they don't really want to be here. You better go get it." So I had to haul ass over there and unpack things. The other thing is, I overestimated I overestimated the amount of interest certain things would have. So, LAN party was a great idea. We had a great time. Somebody actually brought a game that they had developed themselves and they wanted to live test it. It was based on Worms Armageddon, or for those of you who've never played Worms, Scorched Earth, if you will. Pretty fun game. I didn't have a chance to try it because I was running around half with my head cut off. And yeah, it was a very interesting game. I would have loved to have tried it, but unfortunately, it was not something I could have engaged with at that time. But the LAN party is a great idea. It's just I would probably have somebody else manage that. So hey, sign up for the LAN party. And let me see, what was some of the notifications, because the campsite was so disparate. Some people missed some of the talks that they wanted to see, and we only had 3 talks, to be honest, because we had one person submit to the CFP, and then that person ended up not feeling well and staying home. So we ended up finding 3 more talks from the tour camp folks, from the lockpick folk, and one other from, where's my digital warhead at? Is digital warhead on? If he is, I'd like to thank Digital Warhead for giving an excellent talk at our conference about P25 radios. So kudos to Big Digital Warhead, and it was great to see digital out there, helping make InfoSec Campout 2022 as awesome as it was. So yeah, there's some lessons learned there. There aren't a lot of outdoor conferences. Tour Camp, which you should definitely go to because those people are awesome. They came with their pizza oven again this year. I managed to make I brought my sous vide. We did chicken in a sous vide, and we made chicken parm. With about 6 pounds of tomato sauce and pizzas and apple turnovers and really interesting folks, the Milliways folks, which if you've never heard of those, it's like where's my coin? There it is. So they gave me a coin. So that's the Tour Camp 2022 one, and then the Milliways, it's the Restaurant at the End of the Universe Challenge coin. It's pretty awesome. I think I'm not actually sure why they gave it to me. I'm thinking it's because I invited them, but yeah, it's pretty sweet. So you can check that out right there. That's the Tour Camp one. So if you've ever if you ever plan on doing a conference outside, there are a number of the Milliways folks that will, you could potentially engage. So, um, yeah, we had a good time, plenty of food. We didn't have too much food, unlike last year where people brought a ton of s'more stuff, and then we ended up, you know, ending up having to donate a lot of that, and some of it was perishable, which actually didn't do very well. So we ended up having to cycle a bunch of that. So, all in all, I thought it was an excellent weekend. There's definitely some room for improvement. A lot of people are like, yes, let's continue doing this. I'd love to do it again next year because Tour Camp's not doing it next year. The downside is I'm going to be in San Diego, so I'm trying to figure out if it's even feasible to do it. It's going to take some real logistical effort next year to pull this off because, as I told people, I'm going to fly up here. I will have a one-person tent, an air mattress, and a rental car. And it's like I had my Tesla full of stuff, and I overpacked and still didn't have all the things that I needed for the conference, in my opinion. So, um, but yeah, I'm looking to see how feasible it is. And I need to talk to my officers. I need to talk to people up here in the Pacific Northwest that might be willing to, like donate a TV for conference talks or, be able to handle anything that might come around. If you are in the Pacific Northwest and, have really want to help, it's great for you to say, yes, yes, I think that's a great idea and I'd be willing to help. But I don't want it to be like, let's do lunch in Hollywood. It's like in 6 months, if I come back and go, yeah, it's time to volunteer, and then I hear crickets, I'm going to be pissed. You know what I mean? So what I'm wanting to hear is, let's get started now. What do I need to do? What do we need to do to make that happen? So I'm going to be reaching out to folks in our Discord and our Slack who live up here or, are more than willing to fly here to help out. So, oh, you know what? It's been a minute since I've been here. I'm definitely out of practice. So I'd like to thank, let's see, Androll Records, ROJ667, and Cyber Rookie or Rookie Cyber for following us on the stream here. So I appreciate everybody for doing that. But yeah, anybody online that anything interesting happening for them? Oh, here's YTT. Don't make him ask me to pay you a visit. That's right, YTT. YTT's got the mad skills. You know what, YTT? If you wanted to come up and do something, and the other thing was, I was like, San Diego is pretty nice year round. What if, at some point, because Tour Camp does theirs every other year, so they did theirs this year. We also did ours this year. One of the reasons that people thought maybe we didn't have as many people coming to InfoSec Campout this year as we did last year was a lot of stuff happened all at the same time. So you had Hacker Summer Camp, you had Tour Camp, you had well, B-Sides was in May, but you have all these things going on at the same time. And also in Chicago, this last weekend was Blue Team Con. So what people had thought was, we'd all been stuck in in our houses. Oh, YTT, YTT, look at you, Prime subscription. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. So there was a lot of conferences that happened kind of all at once or within the last month and a half or so. And, some people, at least the Tour Camp folks who I was talking to when we were debriefing, was like, yeah, there was just a lot that happened at once. And maybe people were, either still dealing with COVID from Vegas, or maybe they were, a bit leery after getting the COVID and not wanting to come out, which is fair cop. So, there's some things there that we could improve upon. But yeah, San Diego is nice year round, so we could do a camp out conference or something there in December, when there's not a lot of conferences going on because it's, cold as shit in your Ohio or your Illinois or your Minnesota. come on down to San Diego. Maybe you bring your little tent and you camp out, or maybe you drive down the 5 from NorCal and hang out with us there. So I'm not saying that that's a thing, but I'm definitely looking at maybe doing something down there. If not next year, then in the future. So looking forward to seeing that. So YTT, I hope you're staying safe. Triplexity, hello. Appreciate you coming out today. So yeah, Cat Jam. Yeah, there you go. That's one of my favorite animated GIFs now to put on. I moved it over to our work Slack, and people are like, "What is that?" And I'm like, "It's just a cat, doing the what is love, 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 baby, don't hurt me," that kind of thing. So yeah. All right. So let's Oh, okay. I got some additional announcements. Friday afternoon, I had been getting everything set up and ready to go for the conference. People were coming in, and I was marking names off, and I get a bloop bloop and found Miss Tanisha, who, if for those of you who were not aware, had said, "Hey, we did a couple classes with her on malware analysis, and then some things happened in her life and her family that required her to kind of step away for a few minutes, minutes being almost a month, and to make sure that she was right, back to her normal self. So I said, take your time. I'm on vacation until mid August, so nobody will be able to do the stream with you anyway. So do what you need. So she hit me up on Friday and she said, hey, I'm ready to start resuming the malware analysis class. And I was like, yes, that's excellent. I'm in the middle of a conference, so let's talk on Monday. So I've reached out to her. We are going to make that happen. I'm hoping that the class will start up within the next couple weeks. Hey, Kimmy Sec, how you doing? Hey, everybody. Glad to see you. I'm gonna slow my talking down here a bit. So yes, we will be doing the malware analysis course. We will. She will be teaching everybody. Just getting over. I have post-con blues. So the infosec Campout really well, as you can find out when you go back and listen to the previous 15 minutes. Yeah, I'm looking to see if we can make it happen again next year with people legitimately here in the Pacific Northwest. So. But the malware analysis class will hopefully start in the next couple weeks. We're gonna see about that, getting that started up on Tuesday. So it'll be like this time Tuesday, hopefully, and we'll be able to get those classes started up. So keep an eye out in the Discord, which everybody can join by going to discord.gg/breaksec, and getting in on that, and we'll announce that as it happens. So, oh goody. Okay. So, let me see what else. Oh, CSEC East, our local security meetup in Seattle, is happening the 8th of September. So I will be announcing that on the local meetup. Also, we'll be having to discuss what CSEC East and CSEC are going to look like in the post Brian not in the Pacific Northwest world. So not to belabor the point, but I can't do a local Seattle meetup if I'm not in Seattle. So going to be looking for somebody in the Pacific Northwest to take that over, or it's going to go away. So I'm having to, we're really starting to, me and my wife are really starting to think about the, what the future is going to look like. Cause this time next year, we're going to be in San Diego. So 1 July will be it for us. So, the podcast and the Twitch stream won't change much. I mean, my background will change a little bit cause it won't be this place. But I will be, I hope to continue doing the Twitch stream. We will continue doing something like that. And with podcasts and stuff. So, but again, we're open to ideas on how to to do stuff with the Twitch stream, And I want to give a shout out to MT Taggart because MT Taggart gave a shout out to us the morning of Saturday morning at InfoSec Campout. I managed to watch his stream a little bit there, and I said hey, and he was giving a shout out to us. So reverse shout out back to MT Taggart. And let me see. Don't think I have anything else. Anything that comes up, we'll talk about. But let me see. I'm going to pop over browser share. Yay! All right. I'm going to turn that off because we're not using the UI for music player. So I really get a lot of benefit from these because I think we as InfoSec people don't have a good place to find a legitimate dissemination of threat intel without having to pay for it. You know what I mean? And this kind of keeps you on your toes because these cybersecurity quizzes are, they'll keep you informed. They're nice, distilled. They give you good websites that you can actually add to things like your RSS feeds or what have you to keep abreast of write-ups that are happening with various systems. So, or with various malware actors and systems that are being made by these folks. So I think I went through this one a little earlier. I didn't do so hot. So what I thought we would do is maybe go back through this a little bit and talk about some of these items. So there's of course every week there's 10 of them. These normally come out on like Thursdays or Fridays. So I tried doing this one on Thursday and I think I ran through it a little bit. Oh no, I did this one on Sunday and that's probably why, because I was completely wiped out. So if you have been reading these stories, then you will know these. But if you haven't, then it's going to be a lot of a guess. Now that Jonathan is gone, I don't have any reliable source of threat intel. Jonathan who? Jonathan is gone. Jonathan. I don't know who Jonathan is there, YTT. Is that Beta Wolf on is that Beta Wolf in the Slack or is that someone else? Anywho. So I'm sensing there's a joke there that as the olds here I don't get. So I'm old, so I don't get that. But yeah. So this is a story. Microsoft. Their what is it called? Their MTIC. Yeah, TIC. I think Threat Intelligence Center. Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't go to DEF CON, so there you go. That would okay. So right, my bad. Yes, that person, JD1, I think. Yes, you're absolutely yes. That mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I have opinions about that person, but yeah. 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 All right. So 1 of 10, number 1, Microsoft reported on a post-compromise capability used by the Nobelium threat actor. What did they name this capability? So there's 4 options: Uncle Samuel, Magic Web, Foggy Web, and Magic Hands. Some of these, because 3 of these I think are fake, or at least a couple of these are fake. I would have actually used some of these to name these as a post-compromise capability. I'm going to say it's Magic Web. I got it right. Yes. Okay. We can go over here and check this out. Not fake available. Oh, right. It's almost like domain squatting or something like that. So they've updated this, added instructions to enable collection of ADFS event logs in order to search for event ID 501, and added a new resource for FS AD audits in Sentinel. Okay. Ooh. Wait a sec. 1 sec. So I want to give a shout out. Lockpick Village also at a conference. One of the people who was at our Lockpick Village, Matt Burrows, wrote this book, Pen Testing Azure Applications. He also has a Locksport book coming out soon, which I'm interested. It's a no starch press book, just like this one. Actually, we'll be giving some of these away. These are actually, he signed these. This is his scrawl right there. We'll be giving these out as prizes along with the 3 prizes that we were trying to give out at InfoSec Campout. If we'll try to figure out something we can do on the Discord for people to get these as prizes to, because this is what is this? This is a smart keylogger from Hack5, Packet Squirrel. So there's that, and a Sharkjack cable. So, and we'll also be giving out those 3 books. I have 3 books of these, all signed by the author, and I'm actually hoping to get Matt on to talk about those, that and the Locksport stuff as well. Plus, there was really interesting. The Lockpick folks did a talk on impressions, key impressions. So that one was really cool too. Really very interesting talk about how to make keys by just putting a blank inside the lock, jiggling it a little bit, and somehow you get marks on the keys, and then you file those down properly. In depth. Bonsai MF, your handle and personage escapes me right now. In depth, I would say it was a very passionate discussion about key impressions. There was a lot of good questions. If it was a 2-hour talk about him just talking and not answering any questions, that's fine. But I was there for a good hour and a half of it, and there were a lot of questions on that. White Van Man, hello, White Van Man. I think it was there were a lot of excellent questions. I'm not gonna say if he had talked for 2 hours about that and there was nothing else, I would have tried to have found a way to shorten the talk. But I think there was some, there was definitely some interest in that, and it was definitely some folks that are like, "Hey, I want to get involved with the lock sports stuff," which, I can't see a net negative here. If it was, something that, it is what it is. So, but I did appreciate the talk. They did volunteer to talk, which, wasn't something we all got, but I'm glad that we had talks that could talk about that thing. So, yes, he did. I think the only reason that he had an engrossed audience until the end was because it started getting kind of cold and we didn't have a fire there. So if there had been a fire in front of us, that might have been a little better. But yeah, I completely agree, and that's something we can look at later on. So, but thank you for coming and hanging out. So. So I got that answer wrong, or I got that answer right. It's there's something called Magic Web, and it's used by threat actors called Nobilium to maintain persistent access to compromised environments. Nobilium remains highly active, executing multiple campaigns and parallel targeting NGOs and government organizations. So there's some interesting links here. There we go. So there's ADFS hardening guidance. Customers can defend against Magic Web by implementing security strategies, including ADFS hardening guidance. This is great, except you're going to harden something in your AD that's going to bork something. So, if you decide to use that hardening guidance, if you're being targeted by Nobilium or you think you might be, obviously you're going to want to have some kind of beta site to be able to test your hardening to make sure you're not borking anything up. It subverts authentication. It's post-compromise malware deployed by the threat actor after gaining highly privileged access to an environment and laterally moving to the ADFS server. So there's legitimate DLL files. It's loaded by the server at startup, providing debugging capabilities. So there's, we're going to go through, and there's the write-up with some some screenshots of those things. Here's the public token for Magic Web. Someone, why did he? How? Well, yeah, I would say, if someone looks at the server, hopefully you're in some kind of data center somewhere, or, Azure. So if that person has access to the Azure data center, it's going to be game over anyway, right? They can do all kinds of untold damage, but so yeah, here's the site talking about SAML SSO enabled websites. Here's a nice flow chart for that. So, go ahead and take a look through that. I would love to go through that, but wow, this is quite the write up. So, I mean, I'm still scrolling and I'm only about a third of the way through. So somebody has definitely done their due diligence on this write-up. I would say you could almost, find any or create any Yara rules that you might ever want to create, or any kind of detection rule sets. So wow, it's still going. Oh my God, look at all of it. Wow. Okay, so that was a lot on Magic Web, just on a post exploitation malware for something after you've been infected. So there you go. A lot of excellent write up there on that one. So all right, next. Let me shrink this up a little bit because I dorked it up. There we go. All right. So Google Tag, which is the tailored access group for Google, reported on the Iranian threat actor called Charming Kitten. Okay, so they're kind of using the animals like CrowdStrike does with Filthy Bear and Slappy Kitten or whatever. What tools do they use to steal Gmail, Yahoo, and Outlook data from victims? So I'm going to Hyperdrive. That's like the Millennium Falcon. I don't know about that one. I'm going to say this one's a complete guess. So I'm going to go, okay, now Hyperscrape. Okay, Hyperscrape. So the Iranians have an APT tool called Hyperscrape. Part of Tag's mission to counter serious threats. We've been analyzing persistent threats, APT 35 and Charming Kitten. Okay. They use Hyperscrape. The attacker runs it on their own machine to download victims' inboxes using previously acquired credentials. Oh. Huh. Couldn't they just use like Thunderbird or something if they're using previously acquired credentials and log into the IMAP, use IMAP to pull down emails that way? I'm just kidding. I'm sure there's more to it than that. Requires victims' account credentials using a valid authenticated user session the attacker is hijacked or credentials the attacker has already acquired. Spoofs the user agent to look like an outdated browser, which enables basic HTML view in Gmail. Oh, all right. Tools written in .NET for Windows PCs and designed to run on the attacker's machine. Okay, so somehow they got a hold of a copy of Hyperscrape with a test Gmail account, although functionality will differ for Yahoo and Microsoft accounts. Yeah, people still use Yahoo. Weird. Okay. I have a Yahoo account, but it's like it's the spam account that I use to sign up for shit, or when some marketing company wants me to put in an email for their crappy white papers. So this looks like another excellent white write up. Here's a HTTP GET request to a C2. Yeah, I'll go check that out. Doink. All right. I already put it in there. Cool. Wow, it even has a somewhat decent UI, making you decide which one you want to pick there. Okay. C2 index VUBC identity. Okay. Oh, interesting. So it has a simple. Really, is it a simple drag and drop of the cookie form? Okay. Cookies are inserted in the local cache by embedded web browser. The new folder named download is created adjacent to the main binary. Okay. Digital Warhead, look at you. Thank you. Oh, by the way, so Digital Warhead, again, Digital Warhead, excellent talk about P25 radios. Thank you. As I said earlier, thank you again, Digital Warhead, for speaking at the conference. I think we had 3 excellent talks. I mean, between your P25 discussion, the impressions, lockpick people, and the Android testing Android apps, using emulation on a laptop, and Zap. I'm all in on OWASP Zap now. There were some things that was talked about during that discussion that was very good. Talking about the differences between Burp and Zap. Like Zap is a completely transparent type of proxy, whereas Burp doesn't necessarily do all that. Which I'm like, okay, I need to start learning Zap in to legitimately, because goes back to my discussion, and we've talked about this before. What happens if Burp goes away tomorrow? would you be able to, ITT, how does it differ from something like GM Vault or Gmail Vault? Both of those will rip your email from a backup to a backup from Gmail if you have credentials. Gmailvault.com. I don't know. I've never heard of GM Vault or Gmail Vault. I'm actually trying to figure out why, if you have the credentials for somebody's mail account, why you're not just using an email client like Thunderbird or, Outlook or, Microsoft Mail. Is that a thing? Microsoft Mail? To be able to pull those down. Oh, crap. My frame rate went to shit. Yeah, I'm not sure, but yeah, it's like, I guess it's if you want to use it for webmail only, because it just seems like they're talking about webmail only here. And using a user agent spoofed, so an outdated browser will force the basic HTML view. Root clients are super fast. Oh, I didn't know that. Okay. I guess that makes sense. The thing is, how are you going to know? I mean, other than maybe an email into your mailbox that says, "Hey, somebody just logged into your account." If somebody has access to your inbox, they could just go in and delete that one before you have a chance to see it, right? Multi-threaded fetch. Okay. I thought. My experience with Thunderbird is pretty much with news groups, so I don't know if it does multi-threaded fetch or if there's a way to do that. Can't imagine it'd be sequential, but depends on how much email you have, I guess. And how long it takes to actually pull that down. So, good write up though. I mean, I don't know, the tag group over at Google will look through all of this, but there's definitely some detection mechanisms you can go and poke at with this. And other links to things like Google Takeout or what have you. Yeah. So let's go next. Sucuri reported on an attacker's tricking visitors of mainly WordPress websites to download and execute malware on their systems. What was used to trick visitors into downloading malware? Well, WordPress, I don't think it needs Java. I'm not sure why you would use Adobe on WordPress. That one's interesting. You might log into WordPress with CAPTCHA. I'm not sure why DDoS. CyberTube says DDoS. All right, well, we'll pick DDoS then. Well done, CyberTubes. Well done. Yeah, I think the first time I did that one, I did the CAPTCHA one. I knew it wasn't Adobe and fake, but I wasn't sure. I couldn't remember those two. Literally, I was just out of it with so Sucuri. Those two were the only ones that kind of made sense. So, because I hadn't had a chance to read through all of these yet. Bots prompt usage of DDoS protection. The web is rife with bots and crawlers. No shit. Furthermore, bots eat up bandwidth on websites. Again, no shit. The gradual increase of bad bot traffic has prompted many sites to deter or block them entirely, resulting in ubiquitous usage of DDoS and CAPTCHAs on websites. Although a nuisance, these browser verification checks are essential to deterring unwanted and malicious traffic from legitimate websites. So what do? They create bots that can bypass the CAPTCHA stuff. And now they're fake DDoS protection prompts to serve as rats. Okay, all right, wait. So what you're trying to tell me is that is what people do, and they will click on that. That is... Excuse me, I'm going to quietly contemplate who the hell would actually click on that thinking it's legitimate. That hurts my brain, thinking that people will just randomly click on that stuff. We discovered malicious JavaScript injection affecting WordPress sites, which results in a fake Cloudflare DDoS protection pop-up. CyberTubes, come on, give. A normal person wouldn't click on that, but anybody, great. That's... Oh, and it asks, oh wow, okay. I can't read the language, but there's a link to click. Yeah, exactly. There's a malicious ISO. So yeah, that's legit. Let's download an ISO file. Security underscore install.iso. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. Let's just install that stuff. Oh my God. Wow. I mean, this is followed by a message coaxing the user into opening the file to obtain a verification code to access the website. Oh my God. Yes. Wow. Jesus. Yeah, that's, they really, oh, come on, YTT. Oh, thank God I'm not a CISO because that would have hurt me. That would have hurt me a lot. Um, I mean, they're definitely. I mean, they're going the extra mile to make this look as legitimate as possible. I mean, you've got, you know, different bits here. So virus total actually finds this 13 of 59 are actually finding this. So they didn't do so the they didn't do their due diligence because there are some legitimate like Fortinet, Sophos, Microsoft Kaspersky, AVG, Avast. So these organizations will find it. Either it's because they've had time to detect it when the people took the screenshot eventually. But yeah, I mean, there's that's oops. Okay, I'm a like geezer level font here. So after that, just about anything can happen depending on the victim. Okay, and it installs Raccoon Stealer and drops the following payloads. So virus total. So you can go and grab your virus totals there. Clearly targeting CISOs. Wow, YTT, you clearly have a low respect for CISOs. Wink. Yeah. And then look at the malware itself. So there's a jQuery. There's a malicious code found in the jQuery min.js. Family Guy, do not push button. Yeah, I'm not gonna push that button there. Yeah. Nope. You've also seen instances of this very same malware injected into the active theme file of the victim's WordPress website. Okay, so it has access because the user or the admin of the site has given them permission to inject things all up into sorry, the JavaScript. So yeah, there you go. Looking at adogvent.com, heavily obfuscated JavaScript sample containing the payload. If they wanted to make it more effective, they'd add some blinking lights. Well, it seems like that there's enough people that have been owned by it, their YTT, that Securi has come up against it. So they may have enough customers that have been hit by this that they've had to analyze that. So yeah, they've got a number of here's some more code free.files.cnow.at and then security_.iso. I'm hoping that URL or that access has been killed. Cybertubes and metrics, yeah. Yeah, there you go. There's a second MSI file which actually contains the malware, presumably zliker acr-dz.com picture_library radio.msi. Okay, so it's a secondary bit. Oh, look, some interesting Cyrillic here to make it look like it's, there's a CSS file in Russian or something. I wonder who could have been doing this. So there you go. Then, of course, they give you the old chestnuts, keep your software up to date, use strong passwords, 2FA on your admin panel, place your website behind a firewall, file integrity monitoring, etc., etc. Robust antivirus program, yeah. 2FA on important logins, don't open strange files. Well, yeah. Keep your browser and all software updated and patched, and script blocker in your browser. So, yeah. KPMs or what is that? OKRs, I think. Yeah. So it's these are always good things to look at and to do if possible. May not always be realistic. All right, next, Cybel reports on the rise of the Binland. Yeah, okay. You'll have to figure that one out. Ransomware. Which programming language is it written? I'm gonna say, I don't know. Ransomware Java. I've never heard of anything in C or C++. So Yeah, we got Go. All right. Yep. Good job, CyberTubes. Ransomware variants on the rise. So what is it a variant of? It was a variant, so malware written in programming language Go. I presume it was written in Go because it's cross compilable, so you can put it in. Yeah, no worries, Digital Warhead. Sorry for the delayed response. Thanks for the kind words. Yeah. Oh yeah, no worries, Digital Warhead. Yeah, we'll feel free to rewatch the VOD. I do appreciate your support and coming out and hanging out. So it was very much enjoyable to meet people from the cyberspace and meet space outside. So let me see, what is it a variant of? It's a variant of, yeah, no, I don't care. Thank you. So media and entertainment, pro services, manufacturing, healthcare, utilities, just kind of all over the place, isn't it? Except for media and entertainment. I'm guessing maybe game theft or something like that. Golang ransomware, build ID upon execution of the ransomware, attempts to identify the file running in a wine environment by checking wine get version function. Well, that seems oddly specific. Looks like it's 64-bit. I believe that's RAX is a 64-bit memory bit. Creates multiple threads using create thread API to perform faster encryption, making reverse engineering more difficult. Below figure shows multiple threads created by the ransomware. Wow, that's a lot of threads. Okay. Malware identifies system drives from A to Z using the get drive type W API function and encrypts any files available in the connected drives. Ooh. Yeah, that could be rough, especially maybe because, a lot of people map their personal Google Drives to their work devices too. So um, you could possibly get your own personal files ransomware as well, or, um, so exe, DLL, sys, text, link, and HTMLs. Boot manager, boot. Yep. So there's a ton of stuff there. So it uses a Golang package, crypto cipher, crypto AES, and crypto RSA for file encryption on the victim machine. Okay. I would assume they're using Go because it's cross compatible. You can compile it to work with Linux, Windows, or Mac, pretty much any OS. You can create executables that way. So, all right, let's grab that one real quick. Put it in here. I'm thinking CyberTubes is working ahead of me here. That's more than fine. Because I think I got like 4 of 10 on this the last time. So, General Bytes alerted to a security incident involving ATM servers. What were attackers able to steal as a result of the compromise? Cash. Can't be a cool hipster hacker if you don't use Go. I thought all the cool people used Python, but okay. Cash. Nope. Oh, Bitcoin. Oh, okay. Yeah, I got this one wrong the last time. I remember it's a Bitcoin ATM. I haven't seen a Bitcoin ATM in a while. Used to be one down here in Seattle, near South Center in the mall, but I hadn't seen it in a while. Of course, I think it was before the pandemic when I saw it. So, threat actors have exploited 0-day flaw in the General Bytes Bitcoin ATM servers, allowed them to hijack transactions associated with deposits and withdrawals. Okay. Oh, it's the largest ATM cryptocurrency manufacturer. Okay. Well, that sucks. They were able to create an admin user remotely via CAS interface via URL call on the page it is used for the default install on the server and creating the first administration user. Oof. Okay. That sucks. Threat actors named DigitalOcean Cloud hosting IP address space for CAS services exposing ports 7777 and 443. Okay. Wasn't a lot of information. It's not as long a write up as the other ones, so that's pretty good. Someone stole them. Yes, they stole all the Bitcoins. They're digital. They had to part them out to recover some investment. Yeah, no joke. Somebody lost their ass on the Bitcoins and needed to come back in to get that. So, all right, Mandiant, the company Mandiant, which is expected to be well, it's been acquired by Google. We're just waiting for day one at this point, I think. Mandiant covered activities from APT29 Cozy Bear, and they're targeting a Microsoft 365 environments. Which functionality did the attackers disable to assist in hiding their activities? I'm guessing security event logging? No. Purview audit. What is Purview audit? I don't know what Purview audit is. Let's see. Espionage group Mandiant's been tracking since 2014, right? APT 29. Mandiant continues to identify operations targeting U.S. interests, those of NATO and partner countries, despite a publicization of the operations. They continue to be extremely prolific. Disabling licenses. Okay, uses a variety of licensing models, E1, E3, E5, of course. However, there's a variety licenses can also dictate security and compliance settings such as log retention and mail items accessed within Purview audit. Okay, I've never heard of that. So that must be whatever their name for audit files or what have you is. Oh, it's called advanced audit. Okay, so they've yeah, okay, it used to be advanced audit feature. So there we go. Premium versions of all 9 Purview solutions for free, 90-day per. Okay, so the advanced auditing features have been able to be disabled remotely by the bad guys. So there you go. Taking over of dormant accounts, MFA takeover of dormant accounts. Okay. Take advantage of self-enrollment process and other platforms. So what do they consider to be a dormant account? Let's see. No additional enforcements on MFA enrollment. Anyone with knowledge of username and password can access the account from any location and any device to enroll MFA so long as they're the first person to do it. Okay, so what it sounds like is, they create X number of accounts for somebody. The accounts don't get used, or somebody's waiting like a week before they can log in, or they don't log in as quickly as somebody else does, and they get enumerated somehow. And once that account is set up, they can set up MFA, which is what I think they say here. Successfully guessed the password to an account that had been set up but never used. Okay, so and like most IT organizations, you set a really easy default password or something like that, or you mail them their password, their default password with the idea that you'll reset their password. The password gets reset on first login, etc. And they just don't get around to it. Maybe couple weeks before somebody gets hired onto a job, they'll provision the account and it'll set for a couple of weeks before they log in. So could be something like that. Yeah. Cybertubes, you're absolutely right. Account where someone hasn't enrolled yet. Yeah, again, like maybe a new user or something like that. So that's a good call out. Yeah. All right, next Group IB reported on Chinese WinNTI hacking group. How many organizations were breached by WinNTI in 2021? I do remember this one. This one is not huge. I actually picked 13,000. We only activate the account and MFA token over the phone with the person. I've heard of that. There's quite a few organizations there, YTT. It's like I have to physically see you, turn on your camera, show me a government issued ID, et cetera, to kind of build that confidence that person is who they say they are. And they'll activate the account only when they get that information from the person. So Scott is so funny. Anyway, Scott is he said, "You still stream?" ? Yeah. I've been a little not regular on this. So I'm going to take my fiber pills and get regular again. And you can put controls around MFA enrollment in Azure AD, but it's not useful for remote users. That's true. I would imagine. So hey, Cybertube, what kind of controls are you talking? Like geographic controls, like we know you're coming, or like IP address controls, or you can only log in with certain host name on your computer, or certain what kind of controls are you talking there on that? I think the answer is 13, if I remember correctly. Yeah, the access 13. So, nope, that's not what I wanted to do, you asshole. Can only enroll from certain locations. Okay, right. And I guess the locations you could go from, well, you know, certain what's your home IP address, or it'll be like you can only log in from, you know, Microsoft's Office. Yeah, from an Office IP. Yeah, something like that. Um, yeah, that makes sense. World tour. Four malicious campaigns, 13 victims, and a new wave of Cobalt Strike infections. You know, what was that? I saw something on Twitter. I don't remember exactly when I saw it, but somebody was trying to pass some legislation or something where it was like, if you know a piece of software is negligent and causes damage, that it would those people could be held liable for something. The first thing I thought of was, you know, and I think it may have, oh God, I'll have to go look that up, but I do remember somebody posting up, you know, something like that where it was like somebody's trying to pass some legislation to make that thing. The first thing I thought of was Cobalt Strike. You know, used to be used by the good guys for things, and then it got this, you know, source code got leaked, and now it's like the tool of choice for bad guys to use. And, you know, I was like, well, what happens if we have a Metasploit or another kind of thing like a Cobalt Strike or whatever get leaked, and it becomes the software du jour of bad guys? Um, will there be a future where, you know, people who create offensive tools get held responsible for the damage their tools cause? Um, yeah, I remember a tweet that I'll have to go back into my somewhat deep timeline to go look at. But so APT 41, new rules for hunting hacker groups, continuously enriched with IOCs and new rules for hunting hacker groups. Our efforts have resulted in 80 proactive notifications to private and government organizations worldwide. Proactive notifications. Okay. Maybe I'd be interested to see what they consider proactive in some cases. Data tactics, techniques, and TTPs used by the attackers collected help us attribute the group's other attacks. So maybe they found IP addresses. If I smash your window with a hammer, can you sue Stanley Tools? Mm. I want to say that for me that feels like the same metaphor, YTT, but I think there's a fine line here between a hammer and a tool that should have been better controlled, maybe. If Cobalt Strike had never been breached or the code had never been leaked, would it have continued to be the software du jour of bad guys everywhere? I mean, and you know, it's interesting why Cobalt Strike is the software du jour. And you're right, Banzai. Right. You know, gun companies are able to be sued. It's a mixed issue. Exactly. You know, it's at some point there needs to be, I don't want to say accountability, but making tools like this where people are like, oh, you know, you know, if this got leaked, it would be super bad. And it's like, well, we just, you know, have to do our due diligence. Um, you know, we've got hackers creating tools all the time. We have blue team people creating tools all the time that could be abused. So um, I don't know. But I see that if we don't start figuring out how to police that ourselves or from the InfoSec community, the government is going to, by adding damage to things like this. Now I don't know what you know, how much money you would get out of an open source developer who's the only one running that thing and he's not making any money, but somebody will try to sue the creators of, you know, insert new blue team tool that's now being used to attack companies, if they can, you know, find some way to recoup any kind of damages. I'm just I see that as something that could be possible in the future, considering the climate that we live in now. Um, yeah, so they're APT 41 state sponsored group, cyber espionage and financial gain, active since 2007. known as barium, lead, wicked spider, wicked panda, double dragon, win TI umbrella, suckfly. I would never have called them suckfly, but it is what it is. Key findings: campaigns targeted government sector, manufacturing, healthcare, logistics, hospitality, finance, education, telecoms, consulting, sports, media, and travel. Well, that's pretty much everything in it. Targets also include political groups, military organizations, and airlines. That's under travel, wouldn't it? Maybe. They use such tools as Akinet. See, Nmap. There's a tool that could be used for good or evil. SQL map, of course, one for all, subdomain 3, subdomains brute, and sublister. Okay. Typical tools you would see on probably any red team engagement as well. By performing SQL injections using the aforementioned SQL map, they gain access to the command shell of a targeted server and becomes able to execute commands. Okay. 43 out of 86 web apps they probed, and they detected and exploited SQL injections in those. Yeah. That's pretty good. They have their working hours on here. That's pretty good. Can you imagine working for APT41 and they're setting like realistic working boundaries? Look, I don't hack after 5 p.m. So, we can't have any meetings after 7 p.m., UTC time. That is true, Cybertubes. You're absolutely correct. Ping is used for DOS. I'm just saying, we have ignorant people who are passing legislation and don't understand how the tubes work, and we're gonna run up to somebody who's gonna be like, they're gonna have a hair in their ass, and they're gonna be like, yes, let's set up a bill that makes it, possible to sue anybody who creates those kinds of damages. I hope not, but I could definitely see them targeting those things. So UTC 8. I like that they set work boundaries. That's nice. It's nice. So, after 8 p.m., you're not going to have to worry about anybody, hacking you from APT 41. That's nice. Set your alarms. Oh shit, it's 10 a.m. You have to worry about that. Exactly, Banzai. They're going to want to recoup their money somehow. Also, work-life balance. That's right, Cybertubes. That's right. Oh yeah, Sergey's taking vacation next week, so he won't be able to, crack the shells on those. Yeah. So that's pretty funny. Yeah. Okay, APT 41. Let's put the world tour up on here before we go on. All right, so let's see. Next, we're at 8 of 10. CISA warned about which firewall brand being under active attack following the discovery of a high severity bug. I'm gonna say, wow, these are all hot mess. Netgear, I wouldn't call them, firewalls. Palo Alto. Yes. Excellent. CISA. There we go. Yeah, Palo Alto Networks PAN-OS is always under active attack and needs to be patched. Always needs to be patched ASAP. CVE 2022-0028 says its adversaries attempted to exploit remote hackers carrying out reflected and amplified DOS attacks without having to authenticate targeted systems. Okay, all PAN-OS prior to 10.2.2H2, 10.1.6H6. Wow, there's a lot of versions here. I can't imagine that having to maintain all of these different versions of code makes it a more complicated process to maintain overall. Yeah, it's almost like OpenSSL. At one time, they had like 4 different code branches that they had to maintain because they screwed up and didn't say, hey, we're going to deprecate this. But I understand that a lot of these older versions of SSL are on embedded systems that wouldn't work with, if there's a vulnerability, it would affect them. So I get it. But yeah, there's needs to come a point. It's like you need to, maybe figure out a way to get these upgraded and to not have to deal with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different code branches. are code versions. So, Palo Alto bug, known exploited vulnerabilities catalog. What is this? Let's see. Okay. So, wow, that's an interesting catalog of sites. I remember seeing something just recently where somebody was trying to say that they wouldn't be allowed to purchase software with known vulnerabilities, and I think we kind of had a minor heart attack on Twitter because people were like, every software has, vulnerabilities in it, but there was some weasel words in there where it had to be if the findings weren't unmitigated or something like that. So interesting catalog of stuff to review there. Grafana, Apple, iOS, Mac OS, and Watch OS types. So yeah, you can scroll through the known exploited vulnerabilities catalog to see what's out there and what's available. Very interesting. I have to go look through that a little bit later. But this is just a denial of service attack. I say just. It is a denial of service attack. It's not a what do they call that? An RCE or something that allows them access to the device itself. So, all right. So next, 9 of 10, Lockbit ransomware group's leak site was targeted by a DDoS attack. So, wait. So Lockbit's ransomware's group's leak site was targeted by a denial of service attack. Okay. Okay. The leak of which company's data was apparently the cause. I've never heard of it. Well, the only one I've heard of is Entrust. So, okay. All right, good. All right. So their data caused a denial of service attack? Lockware ransomware gang is claiming responsibility for the attack against cybersecurity giant Entrust, but with a twist, the group is also accusing its victim of a counterattack. Oh, so Entrust is hacking back, so to speak. Lockbit claimed attacks on Foxconn and Accenture, took responsibility for the July attack. Yeah. Gang began soon after an apparent denial of service attack forced Lockbit's dark web leak site offline. Security researcher at Cisco Talos cited a Lockbit member going by Lockbit Sup, who claimed 400 requests a second from over 1,000 servers. That's pretty good. While the perpetrators of the DOS attack remain unknown, the same Lockbit member told Bleeping Computer the attack began immediately after publication of the data and negotiations, and separately told malware group VX Underground they believe the attack was launched by someone connected to Entrust, referencing junk internet traffic that said delete Entrust. That's great. Okay, so oh my goodness, that's funny. Okay. Oh, well, if you can make that work, go ahead and the idea of a cybersecurity company yeeting a DDoS would set a dangerous precedent. That's pretty funny. I like that. Oh my goodness. That's pretty good. Well, we don't see a lot of companies trying to hack back. Somebody at Entrust may or may not have had the time and bandwidth to just, go and do that. It wouldn't. I would imagine it would require Entrust to engage with a bad actor to be able to do so. So I wonder about the legal ramifications of that, or does Entrust just ask all of its employees to download Loic and point it at this site? I don't know. It's pretty funny though, but I mean, Entrust would have to, if they didn't do something like that, they're engaging with a company or an organization that does denial of service attacks, which brings in some other legal issues as well. I mean, yeah, I don't know who would actually prosecute Entrust, but if they had done it wrong or something like that, they could have caused some other issues as well. So, but that's definitely a way of doing it if putting that up on that site. So, let me copy. Oh, I already put that on. Alrighty. Ding, 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 ding. All right, next, last one. New data extortion group linked to attacks on a Greek natural gas company has emerged. What is the group's name? Well, I don't know if they spelled crumpet wrong here, but I'm not going to pick that one. Chocolate leaks. Let's do nugget leaks. Nugget leaks. Nope. Oh, donut leaks. Okay. Donut leaks. Extortion gang. Oh, okay. Linked to recent cyber attacks, including those on Greek natural company Desfa, U.S. or UK architectural firm? An architectural firm. That's interesting. 2 victims disclosed these attacks without much information regarding who was involved. They confirmed they suffered a cyber attack after Ragnar Locker leaked screenshots of stolen data. Who are they? They're an extortion group from. First learned of the extortion group from an employee of one of the victims who told us the threat actors breached the corporate network to steal data. Once they finished stealing the data, they emailed URLs of their Tor extortion site to the victims' business partners and employees. Okay, so a shaming blog and a data storage site. Very nice. However, for one of the entries, shaming blog contained entries for 5 victims, with all but one containing generic descriptions of the company and linked info. Okay. Well, there you go. As you can see below, 3 of the victims related to recent attacks disclosed by Shepard Robertson and Desfa Sando, claimed by Hive. All right, so that's the Donut Leak storage data storage server. This new extortion group illustrates how stolen data making it into the hand of multiple groups, with each trying its own methods to extort victims. I would also say they're probably doing multiple extortion attempts. Pay me, no, pay me twice. That kind of thing. Paying a ransom demand may not always prevent your data from being leaked and could still leak to other extortion attempts. There you go, right there. That is rough. Okay. There we go. There's that. All right. So how did I do? Next. Okay. So let's show my 6 of 10. All right. I got 2 more, and I think CyberTubes actually helped out with me getting better score the last time. So this is, again, this is a pretty cool website. They have a regular weekly deal. This was found on the DFIR Discord, which has a lot of excellent people on there and excellent folks. But it keeps you up to date and keeps you kind of up to date on various bits of TI and it's unvarnished truth in this case. So. Oh, they also have some CTFs. I don't know how recent they are, but they do have some DFIR CTF challenges available. So there's a couple on here if you wanted to go through and do those DFIR challenges. They're from March of 2021, but I think they're mostly offline. And Eric Capuano, DFIR CTF. This was a CTF we were going to do online, but I didn't get a chance to do this one either. Let me see. Oh, Gorbachev died. Wow. Alrighty. I'll have to find the tweet for that, but Eric had actually posted up some offline CTF demos as well. If you're interested in analyzing those, we'll get those added to our Twitter. Or not Twitter. Well, I can add them to the Twitter, but I can also add them to the Discord as well. So if anybody's interested in checking that out. All right. Let me see. What else? Anybody have anything interesting happen this weekend with them? Oh, by the way, like I said before, I'm going to try to get Matt Burrows, who wrote this book, online. He joined us for the Lockpick Village. He came over on the weekend. He's also doing a pre-order for No Starch Locksport. I don't know how you would write a book on Locksport, but I'm very interested in figuring that out. So yeah, this one is going to be out fairly soon. You can pre-order it if you'd like. They know their stuff if you are interested. Talking about innovative security techniques for locks, abnormal pin shapes. This is going to be one of those things where you're going to want to have a lock with you probably and some picks while you're doing that. It was fun. We one of our attendees had brought his daughter with him, and I was like, yeah, no charge for the 9-year-old. I'm not going to charge a 9-year-old to come hang out and camp with us. And Lockpick Village was kind of a last minute addition to the conference. And so Lockpick Village shows up about 9 o'clock. She's champing at the bit to get started on hacking some of the locks. So, they're setting things up, and, we finally got it started. And by the end of the day, she had opened up all the loot boxes and hacked pretty much all of the locks. And the lock sport folks were um, very surprised. And it was like, hopefully she'll, continue doing that. I was watching one of the talks, and she comes over with, something from one of the loot boxes, and one of the guys was like, "Oh, yep, that all right, you did it on that one." And he walks back over with her, and then he comes back over and he's standing next to me, and about 5 minutes later she comes back with a different prize, and he's like, "Oh my goodness, okay." So by the end of the night, I think she had unlocked pretty much all of the loot boxes that were available at that time, which is no mean feat because they go in order of more difficult as they're going. So her deft little hands opened up a number of different locks. So and I think I've seen that other places too, where you go to like B-side Seattle, and they've had kids that have done quite well with lock picking. I think it's probably the patience, or I don't know how they do it, but they have more dexterous fingers instead of my old ass ones. So but yeah, here's Matt Burrow. He helped write the book. He's part of, and what I didn't realize is there's, lock sport is actually a sport in Europe, and there's certain rules of engagement and making sure that those things work properly, which I didn't even know was a thing. That came out the Impressions talk that was happening. I was like, I didn't even know that there was a deal on that. So looks like you get an unlock code for 30% off if you go and pre-order the book. I believe with no start, you get the PDF and the physical book if you're interested in getting those. But yeah, there's a number of. Welcome, Oxygener. Glad you could join us here. Yeah. So yeah, there's a. Oh, thank you, Gunner. Appreciate it, Gunner. Thank you so much for coming and joining me today. Well, there goes that. It took me about a day and a half to get unpacked. To be honest, I had a bunch of shit sitting in my floor. I still have some shit sitting in my floor, which I'm gonna have to fix and make sure. Let me see. Yeah, but it was a lot of fun. If you've never organized a conference, there's a lot to do, behind the scenes. Being a volunteer wouldn't go amiss if you have a conference that you are a big fan of, and they ask for volunteers. It looks good to get that on your resume, or to be able to help out. It feels good to give back to the community like that. So, oh, also I can go pen testing Azure, no starch. Yeah, pen testing no starch apps. There you go. Here's the other one. The book that I just showed you. If you're interested in that one, it's a bit. I wouldn't say it's a bit older. It was a 2018 book, but you can. A lot of it still holds true. And I did ask him if he was going to come out with a version 2 of that, and he's like, "I'm definitely going to have to do some soul searching to get the second edition because there's a bit more involved there." So, okay. Oh, I was telling people that I was trying to upgrade my streaming machine, and somebody had said, "Hey, are you gonna try to use GPU pass through with Proxmox?" And I was like, I have no idea what that is, so I had to do a search to understand why I would want to use that or do that. But somebody wrote this up about 3 years ago, but apparently it's still valid, or using GPU pass through with Proxmox if you are so interested as part of r/home lab. So go check that out if you're interested. You know what? I want to give back here. So For those of you who are new, I'm looking. Oh, that is not correct. Oh, wow. So they are managing a lot of things here. So let's see. Savitar, Al Hazard. Oh, okay, we can do Al Hazard. Let me grab his. There we go. Yep. Okay. Oink. All right. Yeah, I'm looking for not just somebody to help with content, but ideas for doing things on the Twitch stream. I've definitely thought about doing some non-security things like role-playing games and what have you. I don't know why I have that up on the screen. I already have adjustable dumbbells, but it is what it is. uh, you know, Other content, we can do some more hack the box and other things like that. But I'd really like to, if anybody has a class or anything they'd like to do, we're going to do the malware analysis class with Tanisha very soon. We'll be working through that. So I'm going to be talking to her in the next few days, hopefully, to get that started back up. So that'll be about 6 to 7 classes on doing malware analysis using Remnux and other tools like that. I would actually like to start analyzing malware. There are malware samples abound on the internet. Something I'd take the class, but then it's like if you don't use it, you're going to lose it. So if I can gain access to some malware where somebody would like to sit here and we could analyze it in a safe environment where I'm not going to own something up, which is why I've got another computer coming so that I'll set up a 2 streaming setup where I'll be sending audio, sending the video feed from one laptop to my server, so that way I'm not going to own up my server. We'll be able to analyze some malware on the reg. So if that's of interest to people, we can definitely have a work group. Somebody also said OSCP working groups. I'd love to be able to get those started as well if people are interested in OSCP. Home now with real internet connection. Have I mentioned how much sucks ass before? Digital, I was actually hoping we could do some streaming at the campsite, and I had a 5G connection, but my phone was god awful that day. I don't know what it was, if it was the atmosphere was causing, issues there, but I had a 5G connection, but I could barely hold on to a single Twitch stream at 360p resolution. So I don't know what the hell is going on there. But yeah, so I would love to, start doing more, content that people enjoy or will get people. MT Taggart does a lot with SIM and logging stuff. He does some backdoors and breaches. Uh, I just, oh, well, it. Yeah, I mean the 5G that I have for Google Fi, I mean drains the battery on my phone something fierce. But I was actually hoping to be able to stream something or to do a stream there, but it didn't happen. We actually had somebody with a Starlink hookup, which I thought was kind of cool. They have the RV set up, which we tested it, and he was getting 2.4 down, and I don't know how much up, but I was like, oh yeah, that'll allow you to at least stream like 480p resolution if you wanted to do that on an RV. So, but yeah, I don't think I have anything else today. I do want to get back on Friday, and I'm going to check with Miss Berlin and Mr. Betcher to see about when we're going to be doing our next BreakSec podcast. Miss Berlin went to Blue Team Con, so we'll get to talk a bit about that. I'll talk a little bit more about InfoSec Campout, obviously. But if you have any comments, questions, concerns, or anything, let me know, and we'll make that happen. But I'm gonna go make dinner. So I want to raid our friends Al Hazard, and yeah, I hope everyone has a good day, and we'll talk soon. Discord.gg/breaksec, and yeah, hope y'all have a good day, and we'll go see Al Hazard. Bye, y'all. All right.